So now we'll introduce you to Mario Lovreković from Superology. He'll explain what it means to innovate in terms of product development. He'll give us some real-life examples and tell us some anecdotes, and he will be ready for your questions. So, Mario, the microphone is yours. One big round of applause, please.
Thank you all for coming. I hope you already learned something, and we have some more topics to discuss. So I'm Mario, I'm head of product at Superology. I'll be speaking about principles which helped us to innovate at Superology for the last 8 years. And actually we will not leave this only at principles, at bullets on the screen. We will look at this on one case study on one of our mini projects that we did in last years. So let's get started. Before we go deeper into innovation, let's quickly define what actually it is. Sean was talking before about value. He mentioned it a lot. And for us at Superology, innovation is creating new value for you, your company, your customers, or even your industry. So if you're doing something that eventually creates a value, you can be labeled as innovative. Today, it's all about being innovative. Big companies want to achieve it, but they have some wrong ways sometimes to do it. But let's think for now that we need to create new value for our customers. At Superology, I mentioned for eight years we've been working in sports betting industry, in sports entertainment apps, and I think for sure for the last 6 years we have been labeled as quite innovative. So our competitors are trying to copy our features, and we feel good with how we actually did it. And now I'm going to reveal this shortcut. So actually, for us, the greatest shortcut was to build a culture of innovation. And what that is, it's actually a workplace, an ecosystem in which you, your developers, your designers, your friends work. So if this workplace is built upon these principles that I will show later on, I'm sure that you will be able to achieve innovation on weekly, monthly, for many years as your business grows. So quickly, let's go. There is 7 of them, and then we will show them in action on the case study. Everything starts from the people. So you need to hire the right people. And for us, even though we are trying to hire skills, which are really hard to find, let's say an Android or a data analyst, we are trying to find a passion inside them. So right people, for us, are passionate people. Because even though if they currently have high skill set, if they're not passionate over time, this will drop. So to conclude, we want to hire people which are passionate about solving problems. Why? Because in those people, you can create the founder's feel. And this is really important. Why? Because if you look at the small startups, like 6 or 8 people, they all have this passion about solving some problem, about delivering some idea, and they take it personally. So it's their startup. They want to solve it. If they succeed or fail, it's all, they take it really personally. So this is, in a nutshell, a founder's feel. Once you have, obviously, hired a lot of people, because today in tech you need a diverse kind of skill sets. So you need an Android, iOS, and everything. So to deliver something even simpler, you need a lot today. And then the true power happens when you group these passionate people inside diverse, empowered, cross-functional teams. And now they are actually able to start being passionate. You empower them by saying, hey, this is your problem to solve. We will look at this closer later on. So now you have this group on the table. But what the problem is, usually, that you would have, let's say, 8 people which are really passionate. This means that they will actually kind of fight with themselves, because their ideas are all great, but we only have 1 week to develop one idea, and people will start being offended, or why is my idea not being developed? This stupid PM is holding back my feature, and so on. So in this case, you need to create, you need to apply this principle. So eliminating guesswork. This is something that comes up from the leaders, so something that comes from top to bottom. So you need to allow people to have data, and you need to allow them to easier conduct user interviews and surveys. This is the process that actually company provides to those people. So easy access to data. And what then actually happens is innovation. People start converting problems to ideas and eventually to solutions. And in order to eliminate guesswork, you need to start developing ideas which have at least some minimum data in them. So they are not just thrown away, even though if this idea is cool. Developed ideas which only have some data, research, or something, because this is how you reduce the risk. And sixth one is really important because you have to evaluate success and failure all the time. People get blindfolded by their success. I think that's the most dangerous thing. So you had a metric that you wanted to achieve, let's say 70% of your weekly active users, and you achieved 90. And then usually you go and celebrate. You stop looking at the data. I will ask again, so evaluate success even more than failure. Because I assure you, for each success, you will have at least 3 or 4 bigger opportunities around that success where to expand. For failure, it's easy. When things are not working, even your CEO, your fellow CTO, everyone will ask you, hey, why is it broken? It's not working. It's your fault. You did a bad software. You did a bad design. It's not me. My idea was great. It has to be your implementation. And the last but not least is eliminating fear of failure. We will double down on this in the case study. I dedicated a special part to that. I really think that this one is big. You want your people, your designers, your web developers, your iOS developers, you want them to fail multiple times per day. So like meaning 100 times per year. And how you can do that, we will look later on. Each failure gets you one step closer to the innovation. This is really important that you need to find out. And obviously, you're not able to fail once per year. We need to fail fast. All of this we will be looking at the case study called Supersocial. What that actually is, we had this sports betting app already on market for 4 years. We were labeled as really innovative. As I said, we had these native apps, top performing, they're really quick. And we had a bunch of teams already solving big problems. But this one was really huge for us. Why? Because Supersocial was the biggest innovation in sports betting industry in the last 10 years. And what does that mean? Actually, it created a value for us. It created so big value that our customers were 40% more valuable. So more sessions, more time in the app. They referred more friends. And in a nutshell, our business was making more money. So the lifetime value went up. If you look at only the metrics and so on. But something that you're not able to measure easily is what we got, what we did to our competitors. We found a value, and they were not able to replicate it quickly. So we really penetrated the market on which we have been present. That all sounded really cool. But let's see what are the two most important user journeys in our app. Supersocial is kind of complex. You will have to go deeper in our app. But for sake of this talk, let's focus on 2 things. You would have one user journey, which is all about public chat. So imagine that if you are at home and watching the Real Madrid-Barcelona game, and you want to discuss it with your friends. Or we call it a stadium experience. Not only your friends, but you have the fellow fans in that public chat, and you can collaborate with a specific context on that match. So this is one that you remember. So we have this stadium, public match, user experience. Second one is really important, again, is that you are able to connect with your friends. So you send a link to your friend, and you connect inside our app. So it's quite similar to Instagram. You can follow people which you think that they're inspirational to you. in current version, you can follow everybody. We have tipsters, influencers, but it all started with connecting with your friends that you will see later on. And once you follow these people, you get just a standard feed of daily predictions they are doing, the comments of they are making, and so on. So it's a social network inside our sports betting app. So that was the feature. But you already know that it was a great success. But how it all started. It wasn't that we looked at the Facebook, hey, let's build this in our app because we can. No, it all started from the passionate engineers, which were solving some different problem. And they had an analytic event in which they wanted to find out what content in our app is actually viral. And to prove what content is viral, you need to detect on which screens or which elements of your app are being screenshot. And they did that. So they wanted to analyze, hey, is there any value for us in our app? They added an analytic event. It took them a few days to get the results back. And when they looked at the data, they thought, hey, this must be an error. It couldn't be so high number. Actually, the data showed that 25% of our customer base was performing screenshot at least one time in 90 days. So it was, wow, 1/4 of our customers is using that, and we don't know why. Okay, that's a big question mark. And then we went and analyzed which screens are being screenshot, and we found out that, okay, they are screenshotting their own daily predictions. And then, again, we wanted to eliminate guesswork because we don't code what we don't understand. We went and we talked with our customers. So we asked them, hey, why are you doing this? And they said, hey, I'm sending this to my friend on the WhatsApp, on Viber, and so on. So we concluded that they want to connect with their friends. But actually, first, our engineers, they wanted to solve two problems. One problem was that if you have multiple predictions, you have to do a lot of screenshots. And it's not the easiest job to do. And the second one is when you do screenshot, the content is not interactive. So you're not able to replicate it. You are not able to do anything with it. It's just a screenshot. So it's really hard to collaborate even on that. And with what they came, in a few days, they come up with a solution by themselves. They didn't ask for any approval. Hey, since we are passionate, we want to solve this problem for our customers. We don't need, even though we are fixing some bigger problem, this is easy. Let's do this. It's a big opportunity. And they added integration for the deep link to that screen on top of the screen, as you can see in the screenshot. And what actually this helps you, you just click on it. It generates a link, which are then sent to your WhatsApp, Viber, or Facebook Messenger. And then you don't have to do screenshots. And what actually happened is that now we had a bigger problem. Our 1/3 of our customer base was started doing this in 90 days, and we didn't know why. So actually, it grew a lot. The reason was simple, because a lot of people do not know how to take screenshot even today. And this was this was really cool feature for them. And yeah, so we thought that we fixed some problem, but the story goes on. While we were doing this user journey, we said, okay, what if the guy doesn't have our app? Okay, let's just purely direct them to our landing. Okay, we can see, like, if we have like our 25% of our customer base doing this, oh, it's a great opportunity to generate growth from data. It's all about that Sean is talking about. So this was a great example for us how we use data to stimulate growth. What happened is that we got 70K of installs in really short period of time. And we generated, as Ivan mentioned, more than €1 million of marketing investment. Why? Because apparently there was a small group of people using this on Facebook in closed groups. And now you had all of these people who were looking at their screenshots. But they did now, because these users started using links, they were not able to see what is the content. And obviously they clicked the link, they installed the app, they become our customers, and we grew a lot. It was great. But then it's all about applying the principle of evaluating success. Because in this case, here in Zagreb, we could just go to Ibiza and celebrate for next 9 months because we did our job. We can retire even, and everything is great. But if you stick to that principle, you're going to go and you're going to ask your customers, is there any more opportunity? Is there anything more that we can do? And yeah, they concluded that we have a huge opportunity because customers said to us, hey, we want to connect with successful customers inside your app. We want to connect with successful customers that are our friends, and so on. And what was the beauty of that? That nobody at the market was doing that. So we had like 25 or even more, and I'm talking about tens of thousands of customers. I'm not talking about 10, 20, or we had a huge base of users that want to do something, and none of our competitors is aware of that. It was amazing. But we only had a small problem. The existing team was already solving the biggest problems in our app, which were like, we want quicker payments, we want more sports content, we want more sports, and we want more statistics. There is nobody to do it. And we had to make a decision. But in all of these stories that I told you, no leaders, no CEO was actually involved until this point. So all of the engineering, that existing team collected all of the insights from the customers and from the data, and they said, hey, look at this opportunity. We think that this could be great for our company, but there is no time. We don't have people to do it. And then within 1 or 2 days, actually whole leadership said, yeah, we believe in this vision. Let's build the best social experience in our sports betting app. And we decided to create a new team. And now we're going to look at how. If you remember the first 3 principles, we hired the people who are passionate. Why? Because we were able to create the founders feel in them. Because they thought that this problem was so big, it was so good story. It makes me smile when I think about it. So the story is so good, and it's such a huge opportunity to work on something really meaningful in our app. And this is how we created in these new people founders feel. And obviously we then grouped them into empowered autonomous teams, and the existing team teach them all of the processes. Hey, where is the data? How we contact the customers, and how to do surveys. So we eliminated guesswork from their workplace, and we gave them an objective: build the best social experience. We don't know how it's going to look like. It's your job. We don't care. We know that you will, with a bunch of small experiments, validation, that you will do the best job you can. And we will fast forward all of the hard sweat that engineers had to do during those months, because you know how it's in tech. Everything is always late. Things do not work at the first of the production day, and so on. But yeah, fast forward. You already know it was the great success for us. It really generated bigger lifetime value for our customers. But yeah, since we had to apply this evaluate success, you already know that not all was so great, or at least we found out that there is at least 2 or 3 bigger opportunities. We looked at the data, who would say, and we saw one metric again, which looked at an error, because it's usually opportunity looks like an error when you first see it. You will probably say, oh, this is for sure wrong. Since we built this social experience for friends, that was our target group. We saw a lot of customers which had connections, which connected with like 200 or even 300 more people, which is, it can't be, you don't have 200 friends. If all of you are here, my friends, I wouldn't be able to connect with all of you. And then we went deeper, and we actually analyzed and asked our customers, hey, why are you using this? You're using it wrong, because our user journey was meant for the friends. We had all of these cool features for your friends. You have this nice wording, hey, Mario said this, and so on. But actually, we had a flow in the stadium where you can find some inspirational guys, and you can start following them. And we concluded that actually 70% of our customers don't have friends, and they just want to find some friend in our app, which was like, okay, we did something wrong here, and you see the principle of evaluating success and failure here. And then we had to do something. I think someone of you already asked a question. How do you know when do you create a new team or what to do with your problems? Here at Superology, we do one of the three things. One I already showed you. If the opportunity is so big, we create a new team. But we sometimes pivot. We don't like to pivot a lot because context switching is probably the worst thing you can do for your team. But if you empower your team to always solve the biggest opportunity that they have and let them pivot by themselves. So in this case, our initial social team actually pivoted to a different idea. They pivoted, hey, let's build a experience in which you can find successful sports influencers inside our app. Give me the most popular content because this is what they wanted. And yeah, so it's the second thing you can do. But you have to let the team decide it by themselves. So empower the team, and this is where the true empowerment happens. Even, I think, Ivan was trying to persuade us, no, let's stick with friends. No, but team decided, no, we're going to focus for next 6 months on this because we see the huge value. There are like millions of small improvements you can do, test, and we will find value for sure. They were so persuaded. And then actually they pivot to that idea. And to highlight all of this, innovation is really hard, especially if you don't have data, if you don't know how to talk with your customers. And yeah, I showed you 2 concepts, and the third one is probably seems logical, but if you work in 9-to-5 company, you would probably go home and you wouldn't stay aware of your problem. So if you're not passionate inside your team, or the team is not passionate, they will ignore the problems around, and they will just focus on that one that was agreed to do this year, let's say. But in our case, we are staying aware of the problems all the time. Even though this team pivoted to a different idea, they were still looking at how are our friends connecting. They were still looking at the blind spots of our product, because all know that you're not able to be all over your product. Sometimes you have to prioritize, but you have to stay aware of the opportunities. And this is the example what happened for us in this stadium here. When we launched, we asked our customers, and customer satisfaction was actually really high, above 90%. All great. We are happy for now for the features. But okay, after this great success, some of those tweaks, new features, we gained more users in this stadium. And what does that mean? Actually means 5 times more spammers in chat, means 5 times more bad language, and in a nutshell, 5 times more annoying customers, as I'm annoying you now because there is food. And obviously our customer satisfaction dropped, and it was dropping each month, but we were looking at it and until the certain point when it dropped below 60%, and we needed to find some small opportunities to see can we fix it. And we concluded and validated this idea that the communication, the stadium can be greater, and there is a growth potential for us in this area. And we did the same thing. We created a new team. We gave them objective. We created the founders feel. So build the best sports communication stadium experience in our app. Yeah. Discovery session. We now just break everything because I easily showed all of the 6 principles applied in the case study, but I didn't show you the one that I believe most in is actually eliminating fear of failure. Because, as I said, each failure gets you closer to the innovation, and each failure actually gives you a lot of insights, a lot of learnings. And this is how you effectively scale innovation. Because once you start growing, as we started growing in Superology, you would have 4, 5, 6 people which know all of the answers. You probably know in your companies you would go to the guy who knows all of the answers. But it's not true. He maybe just was present around when you did experiments, and he had all of the insights shared to him. So what you want to do is you want that your when you set up a new team, that they fail fast in first 3-6 months, that they learn, and that this is how they recover this domain knowledge or whatever is of what they're lacking. And to eliminate this fear of failure, the safest zone are these discovery sessions. Ivo, I think, called it brainstorming, but this is the true power of eliminating the fear of failure. So Superology, we are balancing discovery and delivery, because at the end of the day, you have to deliver some new value to the customers. But each week, we have discovery session in which we analyze the biggest problems. We are looking at what things have changed, and we are trying to analyze. And what actually happens there, that when the new team is there, you would see them to you have one problem, and they will come up with 100 ideas. And if you have data and customers, like half of this idea will never leave the room because they're stupid. They don't go with data. There's no opportunity saying that we need to do that. And yeah, on discovery sessions, you learn. And for the second half of really good ideas, we dedicate specific time in delivery phase that we do these small experiments, 2 or 3 days, to validate your idea. So if your idea had really good research and everything, we're going to try it. We have to find a way to test it. Sometimes it's only, we can do this only with surveys, we can only validate with data, but usually we do A/B tests for a lot of features. And I skipped how we actually trying to solve the bad words in Stadium. This is a really good talk, but it would take us an hour, and I think that you don't want to stay here for 1 more hour. But yeah, we can catch up later on. I will show you some experiments that we are doing and how we're going to fix this issue of bad language. Even though we have moderation and we are able to detect bad languages, but people are kind of really good in bypassing them. But yeah, really interesting topic. To conclude, build a culture of innovation and stop coding what you don't understand.
Now we are open to questions. Are there any questions for Mr. Mario? Again, the most curious guy on the planet. But thank you. It's a nice thing to pay attention.
Hi. Yeah. So this was a really inspiring talk, and I think there's a lot of good value in there. So my question would be, when you're working with teams, giving them opportunities, building new teams, how do you make sure they can make content really fast in order to test it, in order to fail successfully in the first 3 to 6 months? I guess it's down to selection, but yeah, can you share some insights?
Yeah, look, it's all about leaders being supportive. Sometimes you need to wait. When we started doing A/B tests, we actually didn't know how to do it. We didn't have tool. Then we started using Firebase, let's say. It was an awful tool. Okay, you can split the customer base, but you don't know which customers are there. And then you start seeing that your company is inefficient with data. It's inefficient with tooling in itself it has. So teams should not build software to make their A/B tests possible. This is we call it platform teams in our company. So you would have a team which allows all teams to leverage A/B testing surveys and user interviews really fast, because people will avoid things that are hard to do. If you have a hard time setting up a A/B test, it will be impossible for you. You will start ignoring it over time. Who cares? I failed. But our job as leaders and these platform teams is to make fundamental things in our app to work really easy, so you don't feel like, oh, I have an idea, now I have to do all of these 77 steps. And we evolved from Firebase, we played around with Amplitude, now we have a huge data team on the ClickHouse. We are using heavily data analysts, they're helping, but yeah, you have to expose the data you have. Yep.
Hi, I'm Zrinka. So you mentioned you have discovery sessions. So do you organize them in a way that you say to people, come in 3 days, gather data, analyze before you come, and then you discuss, or how do you organize?
Yeah, actually it evolved a lot in last 2 years. we started to be really unorganized because we don't have project managers in the company, so we didn't know how to run this meeting effectively. But current state is that we do a problem description. We say, hey, this is how we in words define the problem. We define the metrics in which this problem can be seen, let's say customer satisfaction. We say, hey, we have 10,000 bad words and it's affecting this metric. And this is how people then, their job is to think about what could actually be a solution or an experiment that can trigger this metric to go up and in the same moment actually reduce the negative metric that we are trying to reduce. So we send, to conclude, we send a summary few days before, so people have enough time to, because in a nutshell, you are a designer in our team, you have to deliver something, and so we're not giving you too much cognitive load. So we give you time to prepare about this topic, to research, maybe you go to Dribble, you try to find some different solutions there. Yeah, I hope I answered.
I know you said you don't have enough time to explain how you solved the bad language. But if you could just briefly explain some ideas, it's really interesting problem.
Yeah. So what we did, so our stadium actually has an ID. So if the match is Barcelona, let's say on our server, you would have Barcelona and Real Madrid having ID 1, let's say. And one of the experiments, really easy, was, hey, let's split all of our customers into 2 groups. Because as you remember, initially, when the stadium was 10,000 of customers, the satisfaction was high. We don't know how to solve it, but we do a lot of these A/B tests. So we split our customer base in 2, and what actually, when you have these feature flags, it's like having backend around your backend. So you don't have to do this feature to flow all around, because usually you throw it away. So we created, with A/B tests, we split this customer base and want to see, this is one idea. The second one is you put all of the people using bad words in one group and people who are offended in the second one. Efficiently, they are on 2 different stadiums, and this is how you increase the customer satisfaction. And the second example, second great idea from the engineers was, hey, we detected that bad languages usually happens when there is a goal or a VAR decision now, because people are angry to the referee, and then they fuck you, referee. And this is what offends people. What we are trying, engineers, they say, let's add GIFs and everything, but it's hard to add a GIF. But what we did, above the input box, we added the angry emoticon with a referee, and we are hoping that people will rather click that angry emoticon than go all of the hard work to type the bad word. So this is only just few ideas that you don't know will it work, but you have to test it with these small experiments, and I assure you there is no CEO, CTO, the best product there will not know the answer of your problems with at least 12 or 20 experiments to conclude anything. Everything else is luck. You don't understand what you code in any other way.
Nice. Another question? No, Beata is waving. Thank God. Okay, thank you very much, Mario. It was brilliant.